the children of the one Yahweh. Ye are the chosen of the one Yahweh. And he has given this law to us.
So, what were you saying? Oh, the Sabbath, right? Give me Genesis 1 verse 14. Now, as in for us, we don't keep the Sabbath on a Friday, Saturday, because basically the Sabbath was established by the moon according to the Bible. And I'll show you real quick.
That's right. I believe that. So let me just, before you start that, so are you saying that the Sabbath does not start Friday when the sun goes down, and Saturday, I mean when the sun goes down Friday, and then when the sun goes down Saturday, that's Sabbath?
No, we don't hold to a fixed Sabbath.
Man, I believe that, because that's why the word month is
It's moon.
Break that down to me.
Oh, I'm gonna. That's exactly what I was going into. You really already just kind of gave the breakdown, but let me get.
The Sabbath don't begin on a Friday night.
No, it begins on when. I'll show you. I'm trying to get the word up real fast.
Man, this is how I know. Y'all are real.
This is Genesis chapter 1 and verse 14. It says, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night.
The lights in the firmament of heaven. What are those lights?
The
Sun is really just the sun and moon. The two major lights. It said to divide the day from the night. Sun and moon.
It says, and let them be for signs and for seasons.
Let them be for signs and for seasons. Now that signs is going into like days, hours. That's dealing with the sun. Like how you have the sundial to tell you what time it is. That's what they usually do in the period of time. Yeah. Now for moon, instead of used for seasons. So let's look at that word season real fast in the Hebrew.
It's not like winter, spring, summer, fall, like that.
Well, hold on, let me get this first. This is the word. This is the word for seasons right here. Like let the moon be for signs and for seasons.
Definition, the Hebrew definition, is appointed place, appointed time, meeting, appointed time, sacred season, set feast.
Set what?
Set feast.
Set feasts. No, let's go to the feast real fast, right? Go to Leviticus chapter 23. They said these lights are going to be for seasons, for set feasts. Let's see what the feasts are.
The book of Leviticus 23, verse 1. It says that the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast.
Concerning the what?
The feast.
The same word it's talking about. Go ahead.
Of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done.
What's that going into?
6 days?
6 days shall the work be done.
I thought it was going into the week of the day.
No, that's going into.
But the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest.
So basically, no, read it all the way.
From the top, 3, 2 says, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts.
So even these are his feasts. So it's about to name his feast going on after this.
So would that be like the Feast of Tabernacles?
Well, all of the feasts. He's about to run down all the feasts that we have to keep. So look at the first feast he names off.
Okay.
6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest.
So what does that mean? That's a feast. The Sabbath day is a feast unto the Lord. Now we saw in Genesis chapter 1 verse 14 that he said, read it again. Matter of fact, read it again.
Yeah,
watch this.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't either, man.
It's Genesis 1:14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years.
For signs and seasons, for days and years. That same seasons there is the same exact Hebrew word as in Leviticus chapter 23 talking about the Sabbath. Okay. It's the same exact thing. Now, with that being said, there's no way you can't say it's not off the moon. But let's go ahead and dig even deeper. Give me Ezekiel 46. Okay, go ahead.
And I got it. The book of Ezekiel chapter 46 and verse 1. Thus saith the Lord God, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days.
6 working days. They're talking about the regular working days, and you got the Sabbath day. Go ahead.
But on the Sabbath,
the 7th day, go ahead.
It shall be opened, and in the day of the new moon it shall be opened.
So what does that mean? That means the new moon and the Sabbath is the what?
Is the new moon and the Sabbath. And I don't want to get this wrong.
Yeah, go ahead, take a guess. I'm here to teach.
But in my own opinion,
Yeah.
it would have to mean that the 7th month.
No, not the 7th month. It's basically talking about, I'll just say it in layman terms. It's basically saying the new moon and the Sabbath are equivalent. The new moon is a Sabbath day.
So when you see the new moon, that's the day of the Sabbath.
That sets the Sabbath. So I'm gonna explain why. Okay. Because look at this, right? It says 6 days shall it be closed, and on the new moon and the Sabbath shall it be open, right? Okay. So I'm gonna get on it, brother. I'm gonna get on it. So basically, if we're on a fixed Sabbath day, right? It's Friday and Saturday, right? If you look at a calendar, who has their phone? Okay. I'm gonna show you a visual before we do anything else. Okay. Who has your phone? Pull up the calendar. Daniel, get this on camera. Got it. No, just a regular calendar. I see whoever has a regular calendar. I want to show him instead of just saying it. I would have to down there, man. Who has a calendar, right? Yeah, can I use this real fast? I got one. Let me see. No, not the moon calendar. Okay, right. Say if we're going off of fixed Friday and Saturday Sabbath. Right. Let's say if the new moon comes in on a Tuesday, right? Right. So Ezekiel 46 said it had to be closed 6 working days. Right. Now from Tuesday all the way to Friday, is that 6 working days? No. It can't be. So how are we on a fixed Sabbath then? Think about that, my man.
I don't have to think about it.
You see what I mean? So that must mean, because read it again. Read it again.
Thus saith the Lord God, the gate of the inner court shall looketh toward the east, shall be shut the 6 working days. Yeah. But on the Sabbath,
the Sabbath and the what?
It shall be opened, and in the day of the new moon it shall be opened.
So what does that mean? That must mean the new moon is a Sabbath. Right. So the new moon is the first day of the week. So it sets the days. So basically you have the new moon, day 1. Then you got day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, and then day 7, and then you got the Sabbath.
So that means. So how do we know not to cut you off, bro? But I'm feeling this, man.
I'm about to ask the same question.
So how do we know? How can we look at the calendar? Now I know we look at the moon. So basically, we're gauging the days by the moon. When the new moon comes, that's the first day.
Yeah, because even it says the new moon the first day of the week. It says the first day of the week. So we go off the new moon. This month right now, the new moon came in on a Thursday night. So it's Thursday night to Friday night.
What chapter is that again?
Which one? We just read Ezekiel 46.
Ezekiel 46?
46 and 1. It proves we're not on a fixed Sabbath because that doesn't work. It's evident that doesn't work. So we know, according to Genesis 1 verse 14, the moon, the sun and the moon was set up for our days and our times and for our seasons, which is our feast. It was going into our feast. So what we need to do is go off the moon like the Most High God set it up to be. Because if you look at the calendar that we have now, the Gregorian calendar, that came from the Julian calendar. That came from the Roman calendar. Now you have an issue, right? Because the Roman calendar had 8 days on it, 8 days a week, or 9 days a week. It rotated. That's different. Then before that, they had another calendar that had less than that, and then some that had more. So we can't just say it's Friday and Saturday because of the calendar we have now, because that wasn't there when the Most High God gave us the commandment to keep the Sabbath. So we can't go off of that. And where's your question you had?
No, I'm just saying, so how they start twisting all this stuff up?
Oh,
because of the Romans and because
yeah,
of all that?
Yes. He has the answer. Right, go ahead.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 25. Says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times.
Change what?
To change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand unto the times and dividing of time.
Man, that made my whole man.
You don't even need a breakdown. It's verbatim. It'll change times and laws. Because really, the people calling themselves Jews over there in Jerusalem really worship the Saturn god, basically Saturn. That's where they get Saturday from. Because even if you look at the days of the week, they're based off of Greek gods, like Thursday, Thor's Day, Friday, Freya. Saturday, Saturn's Day. Sunday, Sunday. Literally
They
Sunday.
even spell it S-U-N.
Monday, Moon Day. Same thing. Even the months. January, Janus, which is a Greek god.
So one man read that. That's just telling him, like, you know what? If we can keep them in an oppressed situation where they just hide this deep off of the book and don't let us know who we are, they're gonna be on top.
Forever. That's what the scriptures say. Literally, forever.
Do you believe they're going to be on top forever? Do you believe?
No. Oh no. Oh heck no. Look at them. Like let's take. Following when I say this, let's take all this out of perspective, right? We don't know where Israelite. Just look at America, my brothers. Do you think America's gonna last like a few? Let's just say decades. I'll be generous. You think America's gonna last any more decades, bro? The dollar's been in a consistent free fall. Our infrastructure in America is being destroyed. Look at the bridges. You got bridges collapsing like almost every other year. Everything about America is falling, just like how Rome did. Because Rome fell the same exact way. They stretched out their militaries. They outsourced their work. They
help everybody.
trying to do all this and do all that. And guess what happened? Their kingdom crumbled the same exact way. Give me which you got Revelations? Yeah.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time."
Because you know why? That's why he's coming down on us. Coming down on us as hard as he is. Just like how they staged the freaking Hebrew Israelite shooting in New Jersey and stuff like that. They know their time is up. That's why they don't want us on the streets. They know their time is coming soon. America's like even if we don't wake up, America's gonna fall regardless.
Yeah, because all of those nations fail.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is, if we get into war, right, say some missiles, whatever, some bombs hit, don't they have like suffer radiation poison like in Hiroshima?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you ain't gonna be able to go outside or none of that.
Yeah. Trump. Even just think about it like this. Trump's and actually give me Isaiah 9 verse 5.
Man, that's
Eventually.
I'm still on that Sabbath. That got me, man. I mean, I'm really that moved me, bro.
I got more videos on it in depth on the channel as well. Oh yeah.
What do I go on?
This is us right here, SICARRI Dallas.
Yeah.
This is our main channel with our other videos. This is also, these three are our main channels, but this is us right here.
See, I've been watching SICARRI. I've been watching like Chief E from them.
Well, that's HOI.
Okay.
But he's with Chief E from sometimes.
Oh,
He's in
is
New
he?
York. Yeah.
Okay.
Like the pull-up boys.
Yeah. See, what I didn't agree with, what you just broke down, is what I believe. I believe that the moon, and I believe that that's why they changed it to the sun, because they're giving homage to the Greek god, the sun god, as opposed to
I think it was Apollos or Helios.
Apollo.
I think it's Helios.
Oh yeah, Apollo is Greek.
Yeah, I think it's Helios. I believe is the sun.
Yeah, that's my
So one of those. Helios, yeah.
So you said Ezekiel
46. I have a whole
I'm not even going to forget that. Man.
everything I just gave you and more is on the channel. I have it like Saturday. It's called Saturday isn't the Sabbath, basically, and it has all the precepts and more.
Man, I'm going to look at that.
Good breakdown. I want to get your question.
I got two precepts for you.
Paul, I want to hear his question first. What do you
I
want?
was just gonna ask, so the people that's making, they keeping the Sabbath, God honoring them?
Well, give me.
That's a good question.
Give me.
That's a good question, man. That's a good question.
No, Colossians
That's
2.
a good question. Yeah.
Colossians 2. It's Colossians 2. I believe it's 14. It's either 14 or 16. Yeah.
The book of Colossians chapter 2 and verse 16. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of a holy day or of the new moon or of Sabbath days.
So I can't get on the brothers and say, oh, they're keeping it on a Friday, Saturday, and all that. I can't do that because I'm not allowed to be just judging on their high holy days. But if I want to keep the Sabbath like we did in Israel in our time of our rulership when we got the law, I'm gonna go off the moon. But I'm not gonna say the Friday, Saturday is the Lord's Sabbath. That's That's just, you can't prove that
But
biblically.
why wouldn't you be able to correct them? Because ain't that taking the blood off your hands?
Well, it's not about me. It's not about me correcting them. I mean, I literally do correct them when I give the breakdown. But the thing about it is, if they're doing that, the Most High God's first of all, we're getting saved by grace. I don't want to be Christian pastor about it, but we're getting saved by grace. So the Most High God's gonna see that. All of our people don't have the lunar breakdown. Not everybody's gonna hear the lunar Sabbath breakdown. So if they're keeping something, the Most High God's gonna see that. Because give me the Judges 5.
That's what I'm talking
It's
about.
a book of
Meat on there.
Judges.
I wanna ask you about that.
Yeah.
Book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11. It says, "They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water,
Talking about us in captivity.
there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord."
So we're just rehearsing the righteous acts. Even though they're keeping the Friday, Saturday, Sabbath, that's all they know. Like before I gave you the breakdown, did you know about the lunar Sabbath? Like the full breakdown? No. So like, for me to say that the Most High God's going to judge them for that is like saying, if the Most High God came and sent His only begotten Son, you're going to get judged because you was keeping the Friday, Saturday, Sabbath, and you didn't know. That I can't tell people that. We were just doing the rehearsal. That's why He said don't judge any man and respect the holy days and Sabbath days.
So in my mind, I say, okay, they're from Issachar or Gad or whatever. But if I say, how do I know? And I really mean this. How do I know if those brothers are walking up the street and this one that has hair that's not like ours?
Mm-hmm.
How do I know that that's an Israelite? How do I know that that's an Israelite if and I know that I know you don't have to look just like us to be Israelite, but
Oh yeah, you're supposed to talk about the white man.
but how do I know? How do I know that he's one of us? If I can't really tell, like saying he got the red right there, he got his hair straight down. I mean, no curly in it at all. And he says, well, I'm from Mexico. I'm an Israelite too. How do I know that he's really your brother?
Okay. Before I answer that, do you know about how Israelites got to like what they know is where you see is the land of Mexico? Do you know about that at all?
I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say yes because that would be lying.
Okay, I'm gonna say, do you think there's Israelites in Mexico?
I know that there's Israelites.
Okay, right. Okay. I'll do it like this.
This is Book of Job, chapter 8, verse 8. It says, "For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers."
So we're supposed to search our fathers. Even with us, we have to go up our lineage to see if that person is Israelite, that person is Israelite, the best we can. So we have to do that same thing with them. We have to inquire them. Who do you descend from? They say, oh, I descend from this Mexican man, this Mexican man, this Mexican man. Yeah, are they like that, like descendants of like the Aztecs or Incas or whatever? They say, yeah. So that's an Israelite. But if they say, oh, he's a Spaniard, somebody that came from Spain, no, that's not an Israelite. We're not saying like literally, because we see it says right here the Mexicans. Not everybody in Mexico is an Israelite. Just like how not in America everybody, like just like you see a black person in America, that doesn't automatically make you an Israelite. You gotta look all the way up. Because some people could just be freaking Hamites.
Right.
That's why we can't be carnal with things. We have to ask them their lineage. Because if you look at the breakdowns, like even on our channels, if you look at the breakdowns that we have, how Israel got into those lands, you can obviously tell that they're Israelites because you look at their culture, just like how. Who has a flyer? You got a flyer? I want to show you something real fast. Oh, that's a new one. Who has the old one? You got the old ones? I want to show you something. We got some on our old one.
Yeah, they my backpack.
Yeah. Oops, it's like right here, right? Check this out. Which one? Yeah, right here. It says not only did the ancient Aztecs practice circumcision, where did circumcision come from? Israelites. They practiced circumcision. The language they spoke prior to being forced into Spanish was Hebraic language that was traced to the land inherited by the ancient Israelite tribe of Issachar. Their language, like what they speak in Spanish right now, isn't literally like the stuff they speak in Spain.
Yeah.
They speak Portuguese in Spain. Now in Mexico they speak Spanish, which is actually a broken part of Hebrew. There's some Hebrew like alphabetical like verbiage or like what's that word I said? Phonetics that are in Spanish that they speak. The stuff that like there's little small stuff. They even have a city in Mexico called SICARRI. What's up?
Yeah, like the indigenous people of the land. Like I work with Mexican people, right? And I've asked them before, like, if they're like, because I had a friend that I used to live by, and like when I lived down in Dallas, like Esperanza Road, and he told me that the original people of Mexico, they spoke a language called Nahuatl or Nahuatl, and it's like Hebrew. It's pretty much a version of Hebrew.
It's like broken parts of Hebrew in their language. What do you got? Oh yeah, I want to show you this thing. What was that? That Song of Solomon. Even in the time when we had our land and stuff, we had Israelites who looked different from us. They even had the stringy hair like how you see with like Europeans. Watch this.
The book of Songs of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 5. It says, "Turn away thine eyes from me, for they have overcome me. Thy hair is as a flock of goats."
The hair is like a what?
A flock of goats.
No, it's woolly like ours.
A flock of goats.
Yeah, wait a minute.
What does goat's hair look like, my brother?
You know what it looked like, man.
So even then we had people who look
chapter is
different.
that again?
Was that song?
Songs of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 5.
Can you please do that? Repeat that again.
Yeah. It says, "Turn away thine eyes from me, for they have overcome me. Thy hair is as a flock of goats that appear from Gilead."
What's
That
Gilead?
hair is like a Gilead was a. I think was that place in Judah. That's a place in Judah, right? Yeah, I think that was a place in Judah, like a city or town in Judah. But basically, it's saying like the goats that were from this place. But the specific thing is the goats. That hair is like goat's hair. Goat's hair isn't woolly like this. It's stringy in texture. And that's a hair. That was a hair of an SICARRI. I forgot about that. That's literally a hair of an SICARRI, somebody from the tribe of Issachar. Just like how we say the Mexicans are. And that was at that time. So look, just think about all the time. Give me Hosea. I believe it's 8 and 8. You mixed himself? Yeah. 8 and 8? Yeah, 8 and 8.
Ephraim has mixed himself.
Yeah, mixed himself. 7. Yeah, go ahead.
This book, Hosea, chapter 7, verse 8, says, "Ephraim had mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned."
A cake not turned. Now, what happens when you don't turn a cake? Like a pancake. If you cook a pancake, what happens if you don't turn it?
It's brown on one side and light on the other.
What does that mean? Ephraim is a cake not turned. What does that mean? They're a mixture of colors, my brother. From one part of the spectrum all the way to the other side. And it says he mixes people, even at that time, mixing with other people. That was, and what was that, Hosea? Syrian captivity? I think that was after the Syrian captivity. But that's besides the point. It's really besides the point, though. They was mixing themselves at that time. So just think about when they got over here and started mixing themselves with the so-called white man. That's why you see some sort of looking a little different from us.
And with the Syrian captivity, they were mixing with them as well. What did the Assyrians look like? They had long, wavy hair. And then they came over here and was chilling. And then they started mixing with the white people when the white man came over here.
So does that change the lineage?
Well, it depends who their fathers are, right? And the curses really are going to follow them wherever. And we see that when they landed here, and the so-called white man landed here, he started inflicting captivity upon them. He started killing off their livestock. Like that happened with the Native Americans, and it happened with the Issacharites, right? It's the same exact thing. That's the same curses that's happening upon them, which was happening on the actual Israelites. It's the same thing. So we can say that, like, oh, they're just, because people on the internet be like, oh, they're just mixed people. We don't know who they're mamzers. But why are they fitting the same curses? They're in the same hoods as us. They're still in the same jail as us, right next to us, doing the same thing. They're definitely in the hood.
They have a military, and it's saying that we don't have a military.
Brother, do they have a military? Do they really have a military, my brother?
We don't have nothing.
Okay, my brother. Okay, brother. Are the Jamaicans Israelites?
Absolutely.
Do they have a military? Are the wait, one more. Are Haitians Israelites? Do they have a military?
Did somebody trying to take Haiti over at some point?
Yeah.
Where's the say that we wouldn't have a military? Huh? Where's the say we wouldn't have a military?
Well, it says the gates thereof were language of Israelites. Now, are they not? They're Israelites, right?
Who?
Now, Israelites.
Oh yeah.
They're Israelites, right? What's that? Now, well, because it specifically means that there's not going to be a protector of the Israelites.
Oh yeah, talking about Jeremiah 14. Yeah.
So, and I don't know. I just watch y'all. I just watch SICARRI. I watch y'all.
Yeah.
So, and I can't remember who I was watching. I think it was the brothers out in San Diego.
Okay. Probably Deacon in there.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the YouTubes that I watched with Deacon, they said that the gates there with language that we wouldn't have anybody that could even basically save us.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I asked that question initially is, don't be looking like that, man. You know I'm pushing the line.
For real, like I'm
pushing the line. Now, you know we don't have anybody but the Most High that's going to save us, right? If another country was to come over here right now, we don't have anything but the Most High. Now, I'm not saying that they have a more powerful military than America, but they have something. So how does that? But
the Jamaicans have something, my brother. You can't.
The Jamaicans are. I'm not saying that.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I'm not saying that the Mexicans are Israelites. You killed that theory.
Okay.
I believe that they're Israelites. But how come they? Is it just that other curses that don't fit us follow them? Like is there curses that fit Asher that don't fit Judah?
Who's the them you talking about specifically?
The other tribes. Okay, so it's 12 tribes of Israel, right? There's the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, right? Now, is it specific curses that follow us that don't follow them?
I wouldn't say it like that. The curses happen in different time periods. Just like you should go on the captivity. I'm just going to say Deuteronomy 28:16, where it talks about we'll go on slave ships. Is that a continuing thing that's happening? No, that happened one time, so I'm just hold on, brother. That happened one time, just like how it happened in 1492 with Columbus when he took them into captivity to Spain and to Portugal. That happened during that time period. That's not still happening. Curses come at different times in different places, my brother. It's not always going to be just like bam. Because matter of fact, if the curses were ongoing like that, like you'll just see it and then see it and see it, we would still be going to captivity on slave ships right now.
Okay, good point. Okay.
Yeah, the cattle one. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good point. Okay, so Deuteronomy, where it speaks of us going into slavery and ships.
Yeah.
Who was that specifically speaking of?
Israel.
Who? Us?
Israel as a whole. Yeah.
So that's speaking about us and them.
Yeah. They wouldn't.
I didn't know that.
But they.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, it is because we was a whole nation at that time when that law was given to us. And they were there when the blood got splashed on all of Israel, and then they said we agreed to everything in this book. They were there during that time period, so they're gonna face the same repercussions like we did. So in 1492, what happened to them? They went into captivity on slave ships to Portugal, to the Portuguese. They had their own. They went into slavery before we did. Let's just say it like that.
Okay.
And then after that, we did.
Okay, so that means where they are, that would be considered Babylon as like this.
Babylon, I would say, is the North Americans. Just plain like that, North Americans.
Okay.
Because I mean,
I'll just say it like that. You gave me something to think about. I didn't think about the 1492 with Columbus because that wasn't us at that time. They took us what, in 1681, 1619 or something.
There's a lot of different conflicting stuff, but I just say 1619 because you can't deny that. I just 1619.
I wouldn't deny it.
Just keep it safe like that. Because there's other reports of earlier times than that, but I just keep it quiet. But I'll show you one thing. Give me, you know about the cattle curse? Yeah. Watch this, right? Going into, I know you know that one. This is Gad right here. I know he knows this one. Now watch this,
See,
right?
that I could believe that because because I believe that the original Indians that they call
yeah,
they look like that.
Not all of them.
What they look like?
They were mixed.
My granddaddy, he looked like he damn near white, bro. Like he real light, hair straight, eyes like green. Like you would look at him and be like, but he produced somebody that's this dark as you.
I believe
I
that.
tell you, a cake not turned, bro. Watch this. Go ahead.
This is Deuteronomy 28 verse 31.
Are you a Judite? Just a regular Judite? Watch this.
It says, thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee.
When did that happen to you? When did that happen to Judites? Over here.
When they changed their name, when they brought us over to, they changed their names when they brought us over here off the ship.
No, that's not. Listen to the
Okay.
Let's say thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
talking about your food, just like how the Native Americans, the so-called white man, killed off their livestock, right? Well, yeah, okay. Since you know that, when did that happen to Judites over here in America?
It didn't happen to us.
It didn't happen to us. So you're saying, because the same argument you made about the Mexicans, I can say the same thing about Judites, because that didn't happen to us over here. But what I tell you, it did happen in Jerusalem, and times when we were in captivity. After we got kicked out of our land in exile, even in so-called Africa, all the same curses followed us and pursued us. The curses happen at different time periods. Is the point I'm trying to make? That specific curse didn't happen to black people over here. And if it did, I would love for them to show me it. Because in captivity here, like 16, 19, like let's just say 16, 19, we were just given everything because we were bond servants to the so-called white man. They just gave us potatoes, they gave us this, or whatever they were going to give us. We didn't have to go out and hunt that. They just gave us that. So we didn't have to worry about our ox getting slain before our eyes. That's why I pulled that, because we can't relate to that curse over here in America. But they can. The Hispanics can. The Native Americans can. The Incas can. All of them can, except us. So I pulled that for the whole sole purpose of saying the curses come at different time periods. That's the whole point of that.
I was just gonna mention the slaughtering of the buffaloes. That happened.
That's what I was talking about.
That's what it is. That's exactly what
So
that's going to.
that's what that's talking about?
Yeah, that's what that's
That's
talking
how the
about.
prophecy. That's how you tell what people what.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You hit me up. I wasn't even on that, so.
Yeah, because it's a lot of people say that on the internet. Like this isn't the first time we've had to deal with this type of thing. Because there's curses, like there's more, but there's stuff that just happens at just different times, and we have to come to that conclusion. Because even in Judges, you see that happen about like not walls being besieged, but okay, 70 AD when we was in Jerusalem, right? Who was there? I mean, how many tribes of Israel was there in 70 AD when the Romans sacked us?
Talking about as far as the northern kingdom and southern kingdom?
Southern kingdom, specifically.
Yeah, the
That's
southern kingdom.
Judah, Benjamin, and Levi.
Right.
That's Deuteronomy 28, where it shall besiege your walls. The northern kingdom tribes weren't there, but that specifically happened to us. Stuff happens at different times. The curses happens at different times, my brother. That's what I'm trying to show you. It's not all going to just, Israel's going to get together, they're going to get besieged. Israel's going to get together, they're going to go on slave ships. Your ox is going to get slain before your eyes. It just happens at random time periods to wherever the tribes are located. That's just how it is.
You made a good point, man. I mean, you basically expressed it in a way that I never got.
Yeah.
Because I was going to dig until somebody explained it to me where I could understand it. So now I'm good. I understand it now. Because I used to be one of those people that thought if you wasn't black, you're not Negro-Only.
Yeah,
I really did. I used to feel like that. And then, I had some other people break some stuff down to me. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. We are scattered in the four corners of the earth. So how can I just say, if he said we're scattered, how can I just say we're the only ones in America?
And he said that to all of Israel. Literally to all of Israel. So no matter what, we're just going to look different. Just like I said, I told you earlier, like if I take an apple seed, right, and I plant it in America, it's going to look like a regular American apple tree. But if I plant it in Japan, it's going to look a little bit different. But it's still an apple tree. It's the same thing. Israel just looks completely different, like all over. That's why we have the chart right here with different varying shades of people. I want to answer your question. You've been patient. You've been real patient. I want to answer your question.
So you said, like I told you, I was always taught as far as Esau, Jacob and Esau. Like Esau was the Arabs. That's why they be acting all crazy, blowing stuff up, stuff like that.
But it said Ishmael should be a wild man.
Ishmael
should be a wild man.
Ishmael
is the actual Arabs. Yeah.
Ishmael is the Arabs.
Ishmael is the Arabs.
So Jacob, they come up after. Matter of fact, Jacob and Esau.
Who? Ishmael? Ishmael comes before.
That's what I said. Jacob come after them. Right?
Yeah. But even like so you can even ask some like Arabs and they'll say they come from Ishmael. Like, I've heard it.
So
I've heard it.
Isaac and Ishmael?
Wait. Abraham had his two sons, Isaac and he had Ishmael.
Isaac and Ishmael.
Well, Ishmael first, then Isaac.
Yeah, so I heard, my bad. I heard Ishmael was the Arab. That's what I heard.
Oh yeah, well, Ishmael is the Arab.
That's right.
But let's go into this real quick. Where you at? Second Ezra?
Well, I mean, he already said that, you know.
Stay there.
I want to hear it.
And you get Genesis. Where you at? Yeah, 25. Let's go into what Esau looked like. Did they ever go into what Esau looked like? With like your parents, whoever taught you?
Man, I done read it before, saying like the body, and they was twins.
Yeah, let's read it.
So the book of Genesis, chapter 25, I'm going to start with verse 24. It says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb.
Yeah.
It says, and the first came out red, all over, like a hairy garment.
Okay, you know what that hairy garment is?
No, I don't.
Read this.
This Exodus 26:14 says, and thou shalt make a covering of the tent of ram skin dyed red.
Dyed what?
Dyed red.
So that's the hairy garment it's talking about, and I have a picture of it.
Covering of a tent. Oh, okay.
That's the color red he was when he came out. Now, who does that look like? Who does that look like? Yeah, what nation of people comes out looking like that color right there?
Yeah.
The so-called white man. All of them. So let's go ahead and read it again.
It says, and the first came out red, all over, like an hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel.
So right there it said his brother came out. Why didn't it say what his brother looked like?
Everybody was the same color.
Everybody was the same color. So that's the only part in the Bible where you see somebody who looks completely different from everybody else. So this literally is the only explanation where you can come to about where the so-called white man comes from. Other than that, everything else doesn't make any sense.
So that's what white people.
That's where the first white man comes from. And watch this, right? It said he grabbed held of his heel, right? Read that part again. We're gonna get second.
It says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel.
Watch this. Go ahead.
The book of 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times?
Yeah.
Or when shall the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth?
Yeah.
And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau.
Just like it said in Genesis.
For Esau is the end of the world.
Esau is the end of the world. Go ahead.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
So Jacob is the beginning of that but followeth. And what is that? That Jacob, that's talking about us taking the kingdom. So guess what? That means Esau is going to be the last ruling power. Who's the ruling power of the world right now? Obadiah. Last two verses.
I got a question.
Can I get one more before you get that? Let me get one more. Get Obadiah the last verse.
This is the book of Obadiah, verse 21.
Actually start at 1 and then jump to 21.
Obadiah, verse 1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus said the Lord God concerning Edom.
Concerning who?
Edom.
Esau, the Edomites. No, this Obadiah is one chapter. It's basically about the destruction of Edom and Jacob getting his kingdom. Now watch this. Go ahead.
Verse 21. And saviors shall come up on Mount Zion.
On Mount Zion, us, Israel.
To judge the mount of Esau and the kingdom shall be the Lord.
So then the kingdom shall be the Lord's. Basically doubling down on Esau will be the last ruling power, and then we get our kingdom. Who is in rulership right now? A so-called white man. So whoever is the last ruling power will be the Edomites. So for the East, for the Arabs to be the Edomites, they would have to take over the white man's position. They would have to be rulers of the world, which they aren't, which they're never going to be, because the white man has established his dominance in the world with weapons of warfare, which is really his blessing anyway, with weapons of warfare superior to anyone else. Nobody can stand up against the so-called white man at this current moment. So they have to be the Edomites. Even if you look at the description of Esau, where else in the Bible are you going to go and find where somebody's different than everybody else?
That's what I was going to ask. So during that time period, how many other like melanated people was around?
Everyone. Just like how everyone is now.
That's what don't make sense to me. Like, all right, so who was Esau's wife? Who did he have kids with?
He had kids with mostly Canaanites, really.
Yeah, but if he mixed with them, then wouldn't they come out looking like us?
Do you know what generational albinoidism is? Well, you know what?
Albinos?
Yeah, you know what being albino is, right?
Albinos.
Generational albinoidism is something that like it gets passed down through your generation.
So was it like heavy?
Mm-hmm. That was his curse, just like how the curse. It was just like how the curse was on Cain.
I was about to say, I was just about to go to Genesis.
Yeah.
So
what's the curse that was on Cain? Oh, you talking about the sign that was on his
flesh. They never really described it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a spiritual aspect to it as well. When you read about the story of Cain and Abel, Cain was cast out and he had a mark on his skin, right? So that way people can identify that's Cain. You don't touch that man, that's Cain. And then and then you have that mark on Esau. That Esau's only the person that's described as something. The word Esau or Esau, it means wasted away, or wasted away is he because he had no melanin. So you have someone who is marked in his flesh in the beginning, and then you have someone described as Esau. His name literally means wasted away, and you can see that on his flesh. He's a spiritual Cain at this point. That's how you know that's who that is. That is that man right there.
I'll show you generational albinism.
It's the book of 2 Kings, chapter 5, verse 27. It says, the leprosy, therefore.
The leprosy, because it's called leprosy back then. It's like how Moses stuck his hand in his bosom and brought it out. It was white as leprous, white as snow.
Well, it wasn't crusty ash.
No, it was just white. It literally just says white as snow. That's all it says. That's what being leprous is.
So you just take out the nose. He pulled his hand out. He was albino.
He was albino, yeah.
All right, got it, boy.
It says, the leprosy, therefore, of Naaman shall cleave unto thee, and unto thy seed.
Unto his what?
Unto thy seed.
It's the leprosy cleaved unto his what?
His seed.
His seed. Go ahead.
Forever.
Forever. That's generational albinism. Until his seed dies off, the leprosy will stay upon him.
Yeah, you're trying to see what chapter that is.
2 Kings 5 and 27. There's a little bit more on it. It says, and he went out from his presence, a leper, as white as snow.
So what did he look like? And his seed too. Generational albinism. That's how it is. That's how the so-called white man exists. Well, I think off the top of my head, that's the only place I can find it right now. That's just an example. But really, it would have to come. That's the only way you can explain it, my brother. How else does a so-called white man come, bro?
Hey man, respect.
Mark of the beast and all that go on. It said we're gonna be called up. This Christian.
Like the rapture?
Yeah, rapture and all that. So y'all don't believe in going to be with God for 7 years and Jesus coming back again?
I don't know about no 7 years. I don't know. I don't know where that is in the Bible.
So y'all ain't grew up in Christian church before y'all?
I did.
Tribulation period.
I heard about that. I've never read about it in the Bible. At one point.
Yeah, it's talking about the tribulation period.
Yeah, I ain't never heard about that.
Yeah, see,
he used to be SD.
But that's how I grew up. We like, man, that's how I was scared in the saying like, man, I don't want to go through the tribulation period.
Yeah, no, we're literally all of Daniel 12.
Started 3?
1.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 1.
This is going to answer like 2 of your questions.
And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble.
There should be a time of trouble. Let's talk about Jacob's trouble. Basically, Israel's
Went over
trouble.
that earlier, right?
Yeah, but I want to make another point on it. Go ahead.
Such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time.
So this is gonna be crazy trouble. This is basically like let's use it in terms like like tribulation. The mark of the beast is coming out. There's wars, pestilence, and famines. That's the time period this is gonna be taking place in. Go ahead.
What book is that again?
Daniel chapter 12, the last chapter.
And at that time thy people shall be delivered.
Then after, like during that time period, that's when we're going to be saved. That's like what people want to call the rapture. When we're going to get caught up in the clouds with Christ, those who were the elect or the elect or the 1/3. Go ahead.
Every one that shall be found written in the book.
The book of life, which is basically the 1/3 and the elect. Go ahead.
And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth.
Remember how you said we're going to be chilling after we're dead? Sleep in the dust of the earth. That's us dead. Go ahead.
Shall awake.
Shall what?
Shall awake.
Yeah, go ahead.
Some to everlasting life, and some to shame.
Some to shame. Because you didn't do what you were supposed to do,
What is
and
the
you
shame?
get lesson.
What is the shame then? It's
The,
not
the
burning
shame,
in hell.
no, the shame is a lesser Israelite. You're basically a lesser Israelite. The thing about it is, we're getting the kingdom because Abraham did what he was supposed to do. He kept the law, statutes, and commandments like Genesis 26 says. So
God gonna honor that.
yeah, God's gonna honor that through us. So we're gonna get the kingdom, but the ones waking up to everlasting content, they're gonna realize, like I said before, that they had an opportunity to escape the second death. That everything is said in the beginning of that was the second death, going into the second death with the tribulations and the fire that was going to happen. The lake of fire is going to be here in America, like it says in Revelation chapter 20, and hell and matter of fact, get that. Matter of fact,
Death and hell.
death and
Man, how
hell.
y'all know all this? How y'all got all this information?
Studying.
Power and spirit.
Yeah, straight to the point.
This is Revelation 20 in verse 14.
There we go.
It says, and death and hell
Death and hell.
were cast into the lake of fire.
So how could, because Christians will say the lake of fire is in hell, so how is hell going to cast into the lake of fire?
I got you.
You see, that doesn't make any sense. Go ahead.
This is the second death.
That's the second death. So in the midst of this stuff that's going on in verse 1, where it says about there's a time of trouble like there's never been ever since, that's what's going to be happening during this time. But during that time, the people who are getting saved is going to be delivered. That's the 1/3 of the elect.
This is new to me, so I'm kind of confused.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It really is.
You know, I'm coming from the tribulation, the old way I was taught. So it's a second death.
Yeah, the second death is basically like, the first death was the flood. Like in Noah's time, the flood. Remember I said most like I said, he's not gonna flood the earth anymore. So next time he's coming with fire. So the second death is the fire that's gonna be dropped here. The nuclear. Matter of fact, Isaiah 9 and 5. I wanted to bring this out earlier.
So once people experience that, once the Israelites experience all that,
Yeah. The only ones who are going to experience that is the ones who were of the 2/3.
so you got that going on, and the mark of the beast and all that.
All at the same time. That's why I said it's going to be a time of trouble like there's never been before. There's no point in time has so much stuff been happening at one exact time.
So y'all think that coronavirus and all that got a part to play in it?
I'm going to say it like this. I hope it is. Because I'm tired of being here. I hope it is. What's up? Hold on real fast. You got Isaiah 9 and 5? I wanted to bring this out earlier because this is how this works. This is how hell and death is going to get thrown into a lake of fire. It's basically going into a nuclear war, and we're going to prove it. Go ahead.
This is the book Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. It says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise.
So every battle that's ever been has been with confused noise. Like when warriors on the field, it's like slanging their swords and ting ting, all that. Every battle's been like that. But what?
And garments rolled in blood. But this
third world war is what?
Shall be with burning and fuel of fire.
Burning and fuel of fire. So what's going to cause that? Bombs. Nuclear bombs. And we're going to show you something else. Give me that 2 Ezra 16:33, where it says the arrows. I never remember 13. Please give us 13. 13. I need this one. I feel like I see
strong way. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 13. For strong is his hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss.
These arrows are sharp and shall not miss. It's on the sharp going to how destructive they are, and they won't miss. Why?
When they begin to shoot into the ends of the world.
Now, can you shoot an arrow, like a literal arrow, to the ends of the world? No. So what are those arrows? The missiles, man. It's going to be a burning of fuel of fire.
That's right.
And also, do you know are you familiar with military terms? So when you have, do you know what it means when they have a broken missile? You know what it's called? It's called a broken arrow.
You see? You see? That's what's going to happen. That's going to bring about that second death. That's what's going to happen.
So do you feel like, even though y'all out here doing that, y'all think y'all going to be saved from that, or y'all got to go through that too?
Watch this. That's right on time, man.
This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, and verse 8. It says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die.
2 parts should be cut off. 2 parts of Israel shall be cut off and die.
But
the whole world?
That's all Israel. Israel. This is America, where the 2/3 is happening.
It says, but the third shall be left therein.
That's the 1/3 I've been telling you about. The 1/3 in the elect.
And I will bring the third part through the fire.
Through what?
Through the fire.
Brought through the fire. So you're not going to taste of that second death if you are of the 1/3 that's really enduring until the end. If you endure until the end and keep the faith in Christ and keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability, you're going to get brought through that fire. And that's what we have faith in.
And we'll refine them as silver is refined. And we'll try them as gold is tried.
Because guess what? Why I'm saying refined, that's when we're going to get the new covenant. After that, when we get brought back, because guess what? The law's going to get downloaded into our minds. So he's going to refine us like metal. Go ahead.
It says, they shall call on my name, and I will heal them. I will say, it is my people. And they shall say, the Lord is my God.
The exact same thing is said in Ezekiel 36, where it says we're going to put a new spirit upon us, and we're going to walk in the statutes. Because after we get saved and we go back to our lands, we're going to get the new covenant. And in the new covenant, the law is going to be downloaded into our brains, and we are forced to keep them.
Why black churches ain't teaching that, bro?
Because they want to keep us in captivity, and they love money. Really, they love money. That's all it boils down to. Because if you teach this, like we had somebody who came into the truth earlier. Like when I first came down to Dallas, he used to be a pastor, and he had a whole congregation. Then he came into the knowledge of being an Israelite, and then he started teaching that. Guess what happened to his congregation? Dudes, you telling me I can't keep eating pork? You mean I can't keep eating shrimp? You mean I have to keep being a nigga? I can't keep being a nigga? That's what they do, man.
Go back down here and check y'all out, man.
Yeah, please do, man. Are you from here? Or,
I'm from Tampa, but I live in Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, we got people in Oklahoma too.
It's like
Yeah.
one's like hour and a half.
Oh yeah, I know where that is. I have to drive there for my job.
I be like North Dallas all the time.
Yeah, we be out here every Friday night from 7 to like whenever, and Saturday we're here tomorrow. Saturday from 4 to 8ish, pretty much.
I rotate every other weekend. Nights to days.
Yeah, and you got that flyer, right? If you look look right here, let me show you something. That's us right. This is our main channels, the first 3, but this is us right here, SICARRI Dallas.
I've seen y'all before, bro.
Yeah, you probably seen the SICARRI Dallas channel. We're pretty popular, man. We're pretty popular, man.
That feels like, I remember some dude talking about boxing or something.
Yeah, that's Taz the Doc. Yeah, that's Taz the Doc. Yeah, you seen us. You seen us,
I
man.
was like, dang, but I didn't realize it was this right here.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I was like, oh, that must be the boys over there. Yeah, I don't know.
Just a little bit further, like
It's a little bit further, man. That's not the most high that you've seen that and seen us, man.
But the information is, you know what I'm saying? Everything I got, it felt like, that's what I've been missing since I got out of the church.
That's exactly what I
got
said.
tonight. Bro.
That's exactly what I said when I first heard about this from brother.
I still got a lot of questions, but man, I got.
We here to answer questions. So if you
that number good for y'all?
which one on the flyer? Yeah, that's me. That's me. Yeah, you can text us, do whatever. We out here tomorrow.
We start
Tomorrow?
Nah, I mean when y'all do start.
Well,
come down.
Friday, Friday 7 p.m. to basically whenever, and Saturday 4 p.m. to 8 or 9 or whatever.
So when it comes to practicing, what's like the first thing y'all like try to get people to like? If I want to like just start my journey, yeah, Israelite.
It's we have to realize. Give me Deuteronomy.
Like you said, the laws is the most important.
I wouldn't say laws. It's really the whole Bible in itself, because we don't want to just say like we don't want to push the law on people. We're still getting saved through grace, but grace, even though we're getting saved through grace, that's not an excuse to sin. And what we're trying to tell our people, it's the thing about faith and grace. I mean, faith and grace and the law. That's what we're gonna keep. That's what we're gonna do to get saved. Where you at? Deuteronomy 10. Hold that. You give me. No, give me.
So like I'll go all day, bro.
Revelations 14 and 12. Let me get this one.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 14 and verse 12.
Let's go into the people who are saved.
It says, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus.
It's both. That's what the Christian church is missing. They don't have. They say they have faith. They don't have faith, really. But it's about faith.
Is the works the law?
Yes, the works is the law.
Wow.
Sirach 32. You stay with you. Sirach 32.
I thought it was just like I'm gonna believe in this.
And that's it.
No, I'm saying I thought I was gonna believe in this, but I'd be like, all right, say I want to be an owner of this business. I'm gonna go try to do whatever I need to do to have that work to be the owner of that business.
Well, that concept is right, but it goes into doing the works to do it. Yeah, the principle.
Yeah, I got you. So, but when it comes into the knowledge, it's about okay, you said you got faith in Jesus. Now this is how you show your faith. This is how you show your works by keeping His commandments. Law.
Yeah, we're gonna prove it right now. Yeah.
This is a book, Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, Sirach, chapter 23, Salah, chapter 32 and verse 23. And every good work.
Every good work. And that's the Apocrypha. This is 1611. Well, in the original 1611 Bible, right? It has the Apocrypha books that was taken out by the Protestant church because they didn't agree with their doctrines.
What, white people that did that?
Yes. Yep. They had zero right to do this. They say it's not canon, but it's not even their book anyway to say that it's canon or not. But an original compilation of this book, it had the Apocrypha books. And like how he doesn't need two books. Oh, he doesn't need two books like how he does. He has everything in
So
there.
the Catholic Bible.
It's basically the Catholic Bible, pretty much. Because they
have a few books that thing.
Yeah, I don't think they got Ezra's. I don't think they have Ezra's. Yeah. I know they don't got Ezra's.
So that says the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was in there before. This was in there before they took it out, bro. Like before the Protestants took it out because they disagreed with their doctrines. This was in there when the original compilation in 1611.
So you think the white man just tried to do all that to like put himself?
Well, more or less, because it really kind of explains too much. It explains, like, about like let's see, to the Jew first and then the Greek. How do you don't know what that is unless you read the Apocrypha in First and Second Maccabees. First and Second Maccabees shows you about how we got taken over by the Greeks and were forced to become Greeks. So when it says to the Jew first and then the Greek, it's talking about to the people who already know they're Israelites and our people who are indoctrinated into the Greek philosophy.
So they talking about like a specific group of people, Jewish people, and then everybody else.
No. That's not what that's talking. That's why I say they don't agree with their doctrines. Because if you leave that in there, you can't get away with it to the Jew first and then the Greek. But with this out of there, you can say, oh, now the Greeks is whoever. You see how it's little stuff like that. It doesn't agree with their doctrine.
How do y'all know that's the truth though? Like, how do you know it's really that? Like,
give me. Who has the Zonda Greek? Oh, I know it's a Jew first and the Greek because salvation is only for Israel. That's how I know. Number one. Salvation is specifically only for Israel.
Only for Israel, so Jew, Greek, the Jew, the Greek Jew.
You can say it like that. You can say it like that.
I got a quick analogy for it. So So like you said, there was a point in time where we were Israelites, and then we got taken over by the Greeks, and now we call ourselves Greeks.
Gotcha.
What do we call ourselves before they called us a nigger, a black, an African American in this country?
Same thing. We don't know who it was. basically.
That's exactly it. We were those modern day, we were those Greeks just like back then. Because you have families that were taken over, they had children, their children had children. The only thing they knew was Greek culture, Greek life. They knew themselves to be Greeks. We came over here, our ancestors who had their backs beaten in, they had children, their children had children, and we grew up doing what? Believing in America, thinking we're Americans.
I was gonna say that too, because I was actually gonna go to where it goes into that pretty much at First Maccabees. But we don't have to get there right now. Let's prove the work thing real fast. Cause that's you could ask we could deal with that at a different time, really. Really, if you want to come back another day, we could go through the whole breakdown. 'Cause I did a whole breakdown on the channel too. But yeah, let's deal with it.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 32, verse 23 says, "In every good work, trust thine own soul, for this is the keeping of the commandments."
In every good work, this is the keeping of the commandments.
Says, "In every good work, trust thy own soul, for this is the keeping of the commandments." Says, "He that believeth in the Lord,
If you believe in the Lord, you're gonna do what?
take heed to the commandment, and he that trusteth in him shall fare never the worse."
So if you believe in the Lord, you'll keep the commandments, and these are good works. So that's the good works it's talking about in James chapter 2.
So what if you like just have a like flesh and bone, mess around, and break the law?
That goes into. Were you here when I brought out 1 John 2:1? An advocate with the Father.
So you just like repent.
You repent from it. Well, you
try. Don't do it again.
Yeah, that's literally what repentance is. You realize what you did was wrong. You pray about it, and then you don't do it again. That's repentance.
My lust for women, which I do. How do you like handle that?
What do you mean lust for women?
I think, are you talking about like, you look upon a woman, you have lust, then you have the thought, and you lust.
Okay, let me deal with that, right? I'm gonna give you the gist of it. How much time do you got?
Man, I thought that was gonna be like 10, bro. Gonna help a brother out, bro.
Okay, let me see. Give me, you know what that is in Matthew? I think it's 6. It's Matthew 6.
Y'all here, bro. Y'all gotta rock those too.
It's Matthew 5 and
Matthew 5. They're just the headdress we wear. Yeah, our elder sells them. Like, he's got a whole catalog of different colors and stuff.
You gotta rock those too.
What?
The fringes?
Yes, that's the law. You can get them from different places. You can go to, you can buy them online. You can buy shirts with them already on it. Like like this shirt, I bought this shirt with already fringes on it. Like it has Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Keep the commandments is the whole duty of man. You can buy shirts like this.
So do y'all wear that to work too? Or?
I do.
I work in the factory, so I get to work.
I wear my ZZ. I work in the warehouse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the. I don't get it. Oh, you got GCs on? It's basically like little mini tassels you can put like for them. Basically, I'll just say it like this: we're not trying to be too law heavy, but when you're at work and they're not allowing you to wear them, is when you get home, just put your shirt with fringes on. Just do something. Just keep the law to the best of your ability. That's not about the Most High God ain't gonna kill you because you had to go to jail. Not going to jail. The Most High God isn't gonna kill you because you had to go to work and they wouldn't let you wear your fringes. Like, he's about mercy.
You gotta have your hair back and look around a lot of machinery and stuff.
Exactly. Like this brother's a firefighter. You really think they about to let this man wear fringes going into a building?
Going into a fire building?
I gotta shave my beard too.
Yeah. So you gotta, the Old Testament talk about shave and all that.
Well, really, more or less having a beard, not marring your beard. Like what you got, you're good. You're straight. Like when you dig into this, that's marring your beard. That's going on in Leviticus.
Like a lineup, basically.
So you just can't touch.
No, you can. Okay, let me say it like this.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, you can. Oh, I want to hear what you got to say. Then.
Like the edge, like you said, is like either like a line shape up, around it.
Well, as in, I'm gonna deal with both things, but I'm gonna deal with the beard first. As in, oh yeah, I still got you. As in your beard, like as it says, give me Leviticus 19. should be at the very end. Man, I don't like the Bible, man. Here you go, go ahead.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 27. Ye shall not round the corners of your beard, of your heads.
Of your head. Round the corners of your heads. You know what the word round is in Hebrew? It's going into breaking off. That's why we can't get edge ups like that. That's really why I rock a pro, because we can't get edge ups. Well, it depends. Like as in edge ups, that's out. That's out. But like if you want to get an edge up is off. Because that word round there means to break off. So it's breaking off this part. Go ahead.
Neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard.
And marring the corners of your beard is this. You can't dig into this. You can keep it trimmed. Like I keep mine. Like mine used to be as long as his is. I just cut it down a little bit, but I didn't cut into my line. That's you can't do that. Like what you got is fine. It's perfectly fine.
I've been trying to grow up for a long time, but I got like patches and stuff. I can't stand. I'm about to cut it.
Oh, you can't cut. You can trim it down. You can trim it. Like I trimmed my. Like I said, like mine used to be as long as his. I just trimmed mine down a little bit, but I still got my natural line. That's basically what that law is going into.
So not even around here, you can't.
You can touch it up, but you can't like as in this. You can't just. That's going on.
You talking about like how the hairs get up already?
Yeah, you can trim that off. I trim mine off. Yeah, you can do that.
I'm saying that'd be weird eating
Yeah, man.
Food be coming right here.
You can be presentable. Like, I'm saying like this. You can be presentable, my brother. We're not telling you to be a freaking barbarian.
I'm just trying to get it, bro. I don't know next time I see y'all boys. I'll look at the videos.
Yeah. But just make sure you come out. We answer all questions. But
basically,
basically,
answer every question, bro.
yeah, we do. That's why I say we're here until whenever, because if somebody come and ask questions, we just here until the questions stop.
Yeah, that's some cool brothers, bro. I appreciate everything, bro. Y'all ain't have to, but I'm glad y'all did.
Hey man, it's not up to us, it's up to the Most High, man. It's up to the Most High that you even hear like now. Because like how you said before, you saw a video, like we see videos all the time on YouTube, but we never expect to actually meet the person on the video. That's what I'm saying. Like all of this is orchestrated by the Most High. That was really gonna be my lesson today until you can.
Yes,
like,
man.
all this
I actually do like teach lessons, give descriptions and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of lessons. We got like almost 300 videos on the channel.
I know, but this is like I guess church or whatever y'all. What do y'all call this?
You can say that. We're trying to get a building. I'm trying my best, man, but they don't like it. The white man's the devil, the Bible speaks of.
Right.
They told me, well, now this is our people right now. I want to say this. I try to get a place over there at the Martin Luther King Jr. Center, like, cause you can rent out rooms and stuff. But they said you can rent out a room, but you can't have a Bible study here. I'm like, I thought Martin Luther King Jr. was a pastor. And I can't have a Bible study there. He a reverend. You see that, my brother? Like, that's crazy, bro. Come on, man. Do anything for clout, bro. But you got to break down. You understand about the beard and stuff, right? Like, you can't dig into it. You can cut it. You can trim it down a little bit, like how I have mine. But you can't like go into your natural line. You can't ball it down.
Unless you a firefighter or something.
Well,
I ain't trying to go too deep. So I mean, like,
you guys probably need to do something about that, but I'm not. That's not
but
for me to say.
You said we in what? Slavery?
We in captivity. We're in captivity. We rehearsing the righteous act.
That's
but what was I gonna say? What was I about to deal with? The lust. Yeah. You found it? Yeah. You give me Leviticus chapter 20. You know what I'm talking about? I think it's 10.
Okay. Go ahead. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 27. It says, ye have heard that it was said by them of the old time, thou shalt not commit adultery.
So the whole context of what Christ is about to talk about is adultery. So let's see what adultery is according to the law. He said you heard of old times. I was talking about the law. Let's see about that.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 10. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife.
Adultery is when you take another man's wife. That's the only way adultery is had by on a man's standpoint. If you take another man's wife, go ahead.
And he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death.
So that's the law on adultery. If you take another man's wife, that's literally what adultery is.
So if you marry a husband sleep with somebody that's not married.
Like another woman?
Yeah, that's not
Well,
adultery.
biblically,
That
you really open up a no. Biblically, a man can have more than one wife.
I believe that, man.
Biblically, that's Exodus 20. You can have more than one wife, but you're responsible. You have a laundry list of responsibilities you have to do that. But that's neither here nor there. But like if you were like a so-called single man and you see another man, like a brother's over there, and he has his wife, and you take his wife, I'm just giving you an example. If you take his wife, that's adultery for you. So let's read this again. It gives you context of what Christ is talking about.
It says, ye have heard that it was said by them of old time that ye shall not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her.
So he's saying if you look upon a woman, that woman is in regard of the law, in regard of the law of adultery. So if you look on another man's wife, go ahead,
and lust after her, had committed adultery with her already in his heart.
So if you look upon another man's wife, that's adultery. But if you're looking on a single woman, that's not adultery. You're not going on. Because if that was the case, we'd all have to just be homosexuals then. Because first of all, my brother, I'm just gonna be frank with you. Our women look good. I'm just gonna be frank. Our women look good. So if we can't look upon them and not want, lust really just means like a want, and not want them, we just have to be homosexuals. So basically, the gist of what I mean, that's point blank period. We'd have to be homosexual. But what I was gonna say is basically the gist of what Christ is teaching here is if you look on another married man's wife and lust after her and want her, you've already committed adultery.
Like any married man, or just like your neighbor?
Any married man, you can't look on another man's wife and want her. But if she's just a single woman, that's fine. You can look at her and want to be with her. Because the word lust goes into want. You have to want a woman. If you want to be with a woman, you have to want the woman.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's up?
That literally be like Christ teaching that you shouldn't marry. Because to marry a woman, you gotta want the woman, like the brother said, you gotta want her. So, and that's a doctrine of devils.
That literally is a doctrine of devils.
To teach that you should.
And forbidding the marriage, like 1 Timothy chapter 4. Yeah. But that's the gist of it, my brother. Like, if it's a single woman, it's A-okay.
But I never, they don't teach you that, bro. They teach you like, you know what I mean?
They teach you to be a homosexual in the church, man. I understand.
They taught me that. You said that, bro. I ain't saying that.
That's what they do though. If they teaching you that looking at a woman is a sin, then they teaching you to be a homosexual.
I see what I mean. They literally teach you to be a homosexual.
Good, man. I done had more than enough, bro. I sure appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, man. Come back out again, man. We answer questions.
Salute, man. Y'all keep it up, bro. All right, bro.
What time is it?
10:30, man.
All right. All praises to the Most High God, man. All praises. With that, I want to say, call all Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and say Shalom.